It was one of those nights where the air carried an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional wail of the wind. Inside the fire station, the warmth of camaraderie and the soft crackle of the coffee machine created a stark contrast to the cold, lifeless streets outside. The firefighters were settling in after a quiet day, unaware that this calm was about to be shattered by an event that would leave an indelible mark on their lives. The faint scratching began just as one firefighter leaned back in his chair, letting out a content sigh. At first, he thought it was the wind, just another random sound of the night. But then it came again, louder this time, almost desperate. He sat up, his instincts kicking in. "Did anyone hear that?" he asked, looking around. Most of his colleagues shook their heads, but a few turned toward the door, their curiosity piqued. The sound came again, scratching, followed by a faint, almost imperceptible whimper. Something wasn't right. The firefighter nearest to the door walked over, hesitating for just a moment before opening it. The icy wind rushed in, carrying with it a sight that stopped him in his tracks, a frail, shivering dog standing in the doorway. Her fur was matted with dirt, her ribs showing, and her eyes, they were pleading. "Hey, guys, come look at this," he called out. The others crowded around, their expressions shifting from confusion to concern. The dog didn't back away. Instead, she stepped forward, her movements deliberate but filled with urgency. Then, as if on cue, 3 tiny figures emerged from behind her. Puppies, small, trembling, and clearly hungry. The room fell silent. The mother dog barked softly, her eyes darting between the firefighters and the street. It was as if she was trying to communicate, to tell them something they couldn't yet understand. "She wants us to follow her," one firefighter said, breaking the silence. It sounded absurd, but the look in the dog's eyes left no room for doubt. They grabbed their flashlights, put on their jackets, and followed her out into the cold. The mother dog moved with purpose, leading them through dark alleys and across quiet streets. Her pace was steady, her head constantly turning back to ensure they were following. The firefighters exchanged glances, a mix of amazement and worry on their faces. "What could she possibly be leading us to?" one of them whispered. After what felt like an eternity, the dog stopped in front of an old, abandoned building. Its windows were shattered, and the faint smell of smoke lingered in the air. She barked, her voice louder now, filled with urgency. The firefighters hesitated. The building looked unstable, its structure barely holding together. But the dog's determination left them with no choice. She squeezed through a small opening, barking again to urge them to follow. Inside, the air was thick with the remnants of a fire. Embers still glowed faintly in the corners, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The firefighters moved cautiously, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Then they saw it. Tucked in a corner, hidden under a pile of debris, was another puppy. Smaller than the others, it was barely moving, its tiny body curled up in an attempt to stay warm. The mother dog ran to it, her movements frantic as she tried to nudge it awake. The firefighters sprang into action. One of them carefully lifted the puppy, wrapping it in his jacket. The others extinguished the remaining embers, ensuring the area was safe. As they stepped back outside, the mother dog followed, her tail wagging slightly as she saw her puppy in safe hands. The look in her eyes was unmistakable, gratitude, relief, and a love so pure it left the firefighters speechless. Back at the station, the little family was given food, water, and a warm place to rest. The mother dog devoured her meal, her eyes never leaving her puppies. She licked each one in turn, her tail wagging as they huddled close to her. The firefighters couldn't stop talking about what had just happened. "Can you believe it? She knew exactly where to come for help, one of them said, shaking his head in disbelief. Another added, "She's not just a dog. She's a hero." They decided to share the story on social media, and within hours, it went viral. People from all over the city, and even beyond, were moved by the bravery of the mother dog and the kindness of the firefighters. Donations poured in, food, blankets, and even offers to adopt the little family. But the story didn't end there. The mother dog and her puppies became regular visitors at the fire station, their presence a source of joy and inspiration for the entire team. They even earned nicknames. The mother dog was called Hero, and her puppies were affectionately known as the Fire Pups. One day, as the firefighters watched the little family play in the station yard, one of them said, "You know, this isn't just about saving them. They saved us, too. They reminded us why we do what we do." And in that moment, surrounded by the laughter of his colleagues and the happy barks of the dogs, he realized just how true that was.